Hello and welcome to Inside the Studio. I'm your host, Chris Rini. This is very dark, and I'm going to try to rearrange things a little bit on the fly. Oh my goodness, there we go. Now it's simply dramatic. Hello, everyone. Thanks for checking in. I am packing up to move, which is why things are so neat behind me. I hope I can keep them neat in the future, but this is always a great way to do a little self-assessment of your life. Yeah, I've thrown stuff. I had a real stark realization that it's actually impossible to be as organized and to keep the home aesthetics that I want and own as much stuff as we own. I think that those two things are incompatible. I was taking the right here. There used to be one of those big IKEA grid style bookcases, the ones that are real popular for vinyl. And I had packed up all the books, and I needed to take it apart, and to do that, I had to flip it down onto the ground. And I realized that I had to just move so much stuff around the room to clear space so this could flip down. And yes, while there are tons of boxes and things like that, it was just that moment of clarity that it's not a matter of keeping your home clean. It's like having the correct amount of stuff in your home to be able to keep it clean. Anyway, the one thing that I did reduce over the past year was the size of my studio. It's now, it has grown a little bit in recent months, but it's essentially down to the size of a backpack. I'm definitely pushing the limits, but it's real nice. I invested in something nice. That company Patagonia, I was looking around for a nice backpack, something I could wear every day and kind of turn into my all-purpose, daily usage thing. And I spent a lot of time on the Reddit Buy It for Life and section and of the internet, and I looked for a lot of different things, but there really is, once you're willing to drop like $150 on a backpack, you're going to get something nice. I keep turning my head so I don't look quite so dramatic, but whatevs. That's the way it is right now. If you're going to drop $150 on something, you're going to get something high quality. And I guess the tipping point was that Patagonia has a guarantee on all their stuff. So that, theoretically you can run it into the ground and either they'll fix it or you can, beat the shit out of it and get a new zipper put on. I don't think you can exchange it for a new one. I could be wrong. Anyway, so I went with a Patagonia backpack, and it's been just fantastic. My whole studio's in there. I usually carry about 3 sketchbooks, 2 notebooks. I often have a reference book. Lately, I've been carrying around with me Ryan Woodward's gesture drawing. If any of you follow me on Twitter, you know that on fight nights, I live sketch the drawing. I live sketch the fights. And I love doing gesture drawing. That was probably one of my favorite, not so necessarily favorite thing to do, but I probably came away with the most interesting, good work. I felt like I was growing as an artist when I was in my college years when I did those. It really opened me up. I used to be very, meticulous, and that was like my style, and that was the way I made, work that I thought was good or notable or impressive. And it was cool to do something different, and it made me be less meticulous. Anyway, so Ryan Woodward is just amazing. He's an animator, an artist, and I stumbled across his work on the internet. I just kind of been collecting JPEGs, and finally I realized I should just drop a couple bucks and get a book. And it was just stunning how, his feel for shape, and he's got like an innovative technique for using Conte crayon. He's got he's got a method where he shapes the tip so we can get three kinds of line, like a very pointy, fine, dark line, a kind of mid-length calligraphic line, and then using the entire side for making broad strokes. And I've been kind of emulating it a little bit. I initially like to work big, like on an 18 by 24 pad. And I see that, the size of the Conti, affects the way that the scale of the drawing, the scale of your drawing affects the effectiveness of your Conti's, size limitations. Anyway, I've been trying to work a little smaller, and that actually has been nice too. I'm playing around with exaggeration and what's the word? And I'm more exaggeration than caricature. And I came away with a really nice picture of Irene Aldana from UFC Mexico, which is probably a great time to transition to UFC Mexico. What fights from that card will end up in the book? Pardon me. I don't think, to get right to it, Yair Rodriguez, Jeremy Stevenson, I don't think I'm going to include that in the book, even though they are, notable people whose careers I'm keenly interested in. One of the ways I think about this book is that you should be able to flip through it and feel like in a couple years, you'll be like, I'm going to go back and watch that. I wonder how that went. How did that turn out? That looks cool. And then this would be something that really doesn't pass the test. Every once in a while, I'll throw in a lesser relevance fight, I guess. Sometimes it's because I'm just curious if someone's career is going to take off, like the two Macy's who are kind of on the rise this year, Macy Chiasson and Macy Barber. But then, or like that Mike Perry, Alex Oliveira fight, which was just kind of ridiculous and had a great dance sequence. But on the whole, you should be able to flip through this book and kind of go back and watch someone's fights because they're still good. That's what it's a collection of, things that are actually good. Hopefully can stand the test of time. Most of them will, because either the people are so important or the performances were so great. Anyway, I definitely will be including Alexa Grasso versus Carla Esparza. I noticed that by drawing during the fights, it is impossible to score them. It's kind of refreshing to feel like, well, that's off my plate. I don't have to opine on that. I will go back and rewatch fights from time to time and rescore them, and that is really enjoyable. If it's a truly compelling component of the fight itself. And the two that I've gone back and rewatched and rescored multiple times are Hendo versus Shogun 1 and John Jones versus Alexander Gustafsson 1, and Robert Whitaker versus Yoel Romero 2. And I think that, upon multiple rewatches and thinking about, what the scoring criteria is, how it's kind of evolved, you can come up with a nuanced way of looking at things. And it's also impossible. I feel like it's impossible to score these fights the same way live as it is upon rewatch. It's only after Yoel Romero versus Robert Whitaker 2 happens that you realize that, the rounds that Yoel won were so much more emphatic than the rounds that Whitaker won. And only after watching all 5 rounds, stepping back and saying, yes, Robert Whitaker got 3 10-9s and Yoel Romero got 2 10-8s. And Yoel Romero should be the 185-pound champion, or there should be a vacant belt because he missed weight. That's pretty much, but that can only happen in hindsight. And that's one of the deep flaws about, having to score fights. Anyway, listen, we're at that 10-minute mark. I I feel like I'm rambling a little, and also I just got a phone call from the school that one of my kids might be sick, and I gotta go. I gotta go deal with that. I hope they're okay. I hope I don't have to go pick them up, and then I can get to work and start drawing. But if I gotta do it, I gotta do it. It's that dad life. Thanks so much for watching. Take care of yourself. Talk to you next week.